Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. Today our topic is how to use podcasts for your OIT preparation. We all know nowadays podcast carries a big role to crack our OIT exam, right? So what is mean by podcasts? Podcasts are the simple or mini digital audio files which contains different native speakers talk on variety of topics as well as with variety of accents, right? So here I am today with you 5 super tips for to start podcast learning. First step is to start to listen with simple to complex podcast. Second one is do active listening and write down your own transcript. Third one, read the original transcript and compare with your points. Fourth one, repetition and consistency in practice. Fifth and last step is podcast mix up. So in detail, going to the first step, start to listen with simple to complex podcast. In this step, I'm going to tell you is when you start to learn with your podcast for your OIT preparation, you must choose the podcast which contains simple language and simple words. Because when you are starting your first step, you have to assess your understanding ability in English language. So, when you're starting with, you start with a simple podcast which contains simple language and words so that it is easily understanding for you. You can easily get the points or get the words. You can easily catch all the words or phrases from that podcast. So, when you're choosing or selecting, you must assess your understanding ability. So, you must start with a simple podcast which contains simple language and simple words. Clear? Okay. So go to the second tip is do active listening and write down your own transcript. Means here when you are listening with a podcast as a part of your preparation for the exam or the OIT test, okay, so when you are starting, you don't be just a listener, okay, you give your full of listening ability in that listening process. That means when you are listening with a podcast, when you are learning with a podcast, you do with your active listening skill, okay. After that, with your listening skill, you try to catch some unfamiliar words and phrases because always this is very helpful for to crack your OIT exam, right? So when you catch some unfamiliar words or phrases, the second associated with the same tip is write down your own transcript. When you do with your active listening, you can able to catch some unfamiliar words or phrases. When you are getting those words or those phrases, you write down on a paper, so make your own transcript there. Clear? So this is about the second tip. Do active listening and write down your own transcript. Clear? The third tip is read the actual transcript and make a comparison with your points. You already write down your own transcripts, okay, in our second tip, right? So when you going to the third tip is read the actual or the original transcripts given on that particular podcast. So you make a comparison with the points. So you will understand what is your ability, how much you need to improve, how much you need to involve in the podcast learning. You will understand your ability, how much I want to work for it to improve my English language skills, right? So in this third tip, you have to compare your transcript with the original transcript as well as you thoroughly go through on that given actual transcripts. So you will get a more understanding with that particular topic or with that particular podcast, right? Okay. So next, going to the fourth tip is repetition and consistency in practice. I want to tell you This is a very super tip for your podcast learning, because when you start with your podcast learning or podcast listening, you do it repeat and repeat. Because when you listen with a particular single topic or a simple podcast, you don't be not only once you listen, okay, it's you do it repeat and repeat. So when you listening repeat and repeat with the same podcast, you will get the result. That means you will get more understanding and more listening. The very great result is you can very fast or very easily you can catch the accent, you can get the fluency, as well as you can catch the phrases or words, which is very important for our OIT exam. Clear? So here you do it, repeat, and even a single topic, you do it, repeat and repeat and repeat. Okay? I am forcing do it repeatedly. Okay? And along with the step, repetition and consistency in practice. Because you don't be stop in any of your time or days. You do it, you make it as your habit. You do it on your daily or regular basis, even in according to your available time, for a short time or for a long time, no worries. You do it repeatedly, as well as you make it as your hobby or make it as your habit, and you make a consistency with the practice with podcast learning or listening. Okay, this will also really improve your totally English language skills in your listening, in your speaking, in your writing and reading, every aspects of your English language skills. This super tip will definitely help you to improve your language skill, right? Okay, going to the fifth and last tip is podcast mix up. This tip mean I already told you about your OIT exam. You are a healthcare professional. You must select health and or disease related topics. But here I am changing the view is when you're bored with your selected topics, you want to refresh with your podcast learning or listening. So you can choose another variety of topic or variety of podcasts that are all available in our smartphones and another gadgets, right? So you can choose another funny audios, clips, entertainment clips, or another cartoon clips, so anything, but you consistent be a listener with your podcast. So when you're bored with a selected topic, or when you're bored with a selected disease condition, or practice with a particular health and disease, you can make it change with another or other topics which carries variety of condensed variety of topics, variety of areas. So you listen with that also, definitely will help you to improve your English language skills. So today we discuss about 5 super tips for your podcast learning, how you can effectively use a podcast for to crack your OET exam. So I hope you got some information from this video. Thank you for watching my video, and see you in another video session.